Anna King, BBC Radio Gloucestershire. Good afternoon to you. We shall be talking then in just a moment about getting staff, darling. You have no idea. The demand for domestic staff in Britain now higher than in Victorian times. If you, like the rest of the world, are addicted to Downton Abbey, then could this be the way we are going then? Back to upstairs and very much downstairs. Hiring help to help run the house. So with the need for good staff at such a high, who is looking for what to do what now? A new series then starts next week on Channel 4. It's called Can't Get the Staff, and it's following, well, frankly, privileged Brits as they seek to fill positions at home, from gardeners to nannies and grooms to butlers, which is very useful for us because temporary etiquette expert Grant Harrell, part of that series, and as a former butler to the royal family, he's in a pretty good position to see who is hiring what staff. Good morning to you. Morning, so I've just decided, I've thought I need all of these people. Apart from a groom, I haven't got a horse yet, but clearly I'm going to need all these people to make my life better.
We've already got your butler.
Yes, exactly.
I'm here.
1 down, 3 to go. This is extraordinary, though, to say that actually there are more people wanting staff now than in Victorian times.
Yes, it's on the increase. Which is amazing. It's fantastic for the butlers and the housekeepers in the world. But I think I saw somewhere recently that we've got about 30,000 butlers now. And that's a huge increase because apparently
30,000 butlers.
30,000. And I think it was in the 70s into the 80s we were down to a couple of hundred butlers.
Now, you've actually done training to teach other people how to be a butler, yes, so you might be helping this cause of getting people out there.
Funny enough, with the series, part of what I'm doing in it is, obviously, I'm there as a butler, but you also see me training a young chap that wants to be a butler, and this chap wanted to... He came to me a few months back and said, I want to be a butler.
And who wants to have a butler now, then? Apart from the royal family, obviously, but who else is out there?
I thought you were a butler, Anna.
I know. But who's out there? Who are these people? Is it the rich Hollywood folk?
It's not just the rich. I mean, I think I've said this before. Anyone can have a butler today. You could hire a butler in for the night.
Oh, for the night. Not one-off. I was going to say. Not full term.
Not full time. No. But you could hire one in for the night, and they're not that expensive. I mean,
But why would you want it then?
I think it's part of it's probably shown off. I mean, part of it, if you've watched Downton Abbey, what's more fun than to do your own dinner party, have a butler come along, or preferably one that I've trained come along, and do your dinner party, which is fun. And then it's also it's got that element of surprise when your guests turn up, and instead of you answering the door, you have a butler answer the door. And as a joke, a few times I have gone to friends in the butler uniform, and as the other guests arrive, I open the door and say, "Welcome, my lord, my lady, please come in." So a lot of people, that's why they do it. It's the fun element, and some people generally just want a butler or a personal assistant just to help run their lives, their homes.
I was going to say, this is going to the other extreme then. In some of the programmes, we're going to see the likes of Sir Humphrey Wakefield desperately seeking someone to polish his armour. Yeah. Not a euphemism, that is absolutely what he is asking for. And Princess Olga Romanov, who's recruiting a new garden boy. Sarah Vestin Romani, looking for a butler to help care for her dogs.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a chance where you might say no at any point then, as a butler,
somebody
to
asked
say
me to
no?
look after the dogs.
Yeah.
I think I might have to turn that down, unless it's corgis, of course. It's an interesting one. I mean, you never know. You could have somebody that wants somebody just to look after the dogs. Some people just want somebody to go and look after their home, not even look after them. They might not even live there, and somebody just runs it and looks after it and looks after the animals and all that kind of thing. But I think with the series, they've obviously looked at the whole household. They're not just looking at butlers; they're looking at housekeepers, gardeners,
grooms, bodyguards. This is very much something
bodyguards.
of the future.
I mean, I'm not too sure about that, and I think they might also have some outdoor staff as well as grooms. So I think it's going to be a really interesting glimpse into this world, and hopefully it will give an accurate portrayal of what it's actually like.
What is it actually like? Spill.
I always say it's a bit of it's a crazy world. It's not like a normal job. It's not like going into I call a normal job working in the bank or working in your local Tesco, which is what normal people do. people like myself who must be a bit mad to go into this profession, it's very different because you give up part of your life. Your day can start from 7 o'clock in the morning. It can finish maybe at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Very true to what you see in Downton Abbey with
It is
casting.
really like Downton Abbey.
It can be very like that. I mean, I've said a few times that it's so accurate, even though it's a series that's set 80 odd years ago. It's terrifying how some of it's quite accurate to today. I've worked in houses where I've had to open up the shutters in the morning and close them last thing at night, get up before everybody else is up to
Set
make
the
sure
fire.
that well, luckily I have staff to do that.
Even a butler has staff, darling.
I get my butler students to do it. No, I mean, the roles are given to different people these days. So you might have the housekeeping team do the fires, or the butlers might be asked to do it. But again, I never ask somebody to do a job that I wouldn't do myself, because as a butler you need to be able to do every task that you're going to instruct other people to do. So it's really important you understand how it works.
So if I dropped you into Downton Abbey now, then which job other than butler would you quite fancy then? Downstairs, under the stairs, below stairs.
I enjoy valeting, but again, I do that.
Yes, because you've laid out
we did
clothes.
that, didn't we?
We did that.
At Thornbury.
We did at Thornbury Castle
Yes.
a few years back, and you taught me how to do it properly. Who knew there were so many complications in laying out some clothing for somebody? But absolutely there is. So so that would work quite well. Then you don't fancy being the little maid there who's cooking and
No, I think I've had a few disasters with cooking. I've tried the cooking.
What about polishing the armour?
The armour, yeah, that could be. Why, have you got a suit of armour you want polished?
This guy has, so Humphrey Wakefield, desperately seeking someone. Desperately.
I think I read about that. I think it's
polish
he's
his
got
armour.
2,000 pieces of. He must have a whole army.
It's a Fourth Bridge, isn't
Must
it?
be planning in some sort of revolution.
You'd never actually get to the end of it, would you? So, is it a good career though? Is it a career that you can understand people suggesting to their teenager, actually you could do a lot worse than doing XYZ?
I think it's obviously I've got to say it's a good career because I train my butlers through the company which I formed, Nicholas Veitch, which we have a lot of students come there, and I've had their parents phone me up. I've had parents phone me up and they'll say to me, look, we're thinking of a bit of a different career. What would you suggest if my son was to come along and do butler training? And it's a good career. It can pay well. I don't think it's quite what some of the papers say. It depends on where you are, where you're working, what hours you do. But realistically, it does pay well. You can get grace and favour, which is where you get accommodation.
So you might have a house or some
with
sort
the job.
So
there's a lot of perks.
So there's a lot of perks.
Also, when I worked for the Royal Household, I was very lucky. You get invited to parties at St James's Palace and Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle. Those are quite exciting perks to get. But with any kind of job, there'll be things like that you get to do. So it's well worth doing it. And as we say, there's families always looking for butlers today, thankfully. This
is the thing that I've still to get my head around. Really, is that in this age where everybody's saying about holding the purse strings and nobody's got any money, there are clearly pockets of society that have got huge amounts of cash.
They are,
and they're ready to pay for you to be their staff.
Absolutely, and we get, as I said, we get so many requests, and I work with, as I've mentioned before, Princess Katerina, who's a niece of the Queen, and she's got a lot of friends who they've all got households and got their butlers. They don't have them all the time. They might not have them permanently, but they bring them in for their events. And like you'll see in the series with Lady Colin Campbell, that was a dinner party. She's a friend of Princess Katerina as well. She said, I need somebody to come and help, and they got yours truly to come along and help with the dinner party, but also, more importantly, train this young chap who, as I say, wants to go into this profession.
Yeah, could be the way forward.
Could be.
Well, I'll leave you to polish the armour. I won't make you look after the dogs, but nice to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you,
Grant
Anna.
Harold then from Tetbury, etiquette expert and a one-time former butler then of the royal family, and he is featured in this series that begins next week. It is next Tuesday then, 9 o'clock on Channel 4. You can see it all unfold. Can't get the staff.